Hello everyone, it's Coach Fro from RocioFlores.com. I'm doing my daily life Bible reading. Today we're reading Genesis chapter 37, and I think that's going to be all for today. I'm not going to try to do 2 chapters because this one's it's in that range. So, I'm sorry I'm so late. I really didn't feel like doing any reading. I was like, ugh, I just don't feel like it. And it's not so much the reading that I'm like, kind of about. It's just, getting live. I'm like, I have to go put on my hair. I gotta put on a shirt that looks normal, because I'm at home, I'm at my desk all day, so I don't need to look normal. So, it's just like getting out of this and then having to be like, But I'm gonna go ahead and just do my reading, this one chapter, and then tomorrow we can go into the next, and we'll see how that goes. All right, chapter 37. Jacob lived in the land where his father had stayed, the land of Canaan. These are the family records of Jacob. At 17 years of age, Joseph tended sheep with his brothers. The young man was working with the sons of Bilhah and Silpah, his father's wives, and he brought a bad report about them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons, because Joseph was a son born to him in his old age, and he made a robe of many colors for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his other brothers, they hated him and could not bring themselves to speak peaceably to him. So this is the storyline that follows like that movie, Prince of Egypt. No, it's one of those I think it's a Disney movie, but it's like Joseph King, Prince of Dreams or King of Dreams or something like that. I know I've watched it. Tony showed it to me. He grew up watching this kind of stuff, so he knows these stories very well. I didn't know anything about them till I was fully an adult. But so like if you remember the storyline, that this is where that comes from. Okay. Oh, King of Dreams? Something like that? Because it says, okay. Then Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to the dream I had. There we were, binding sheaves of grain in the field. Suddenly my sheaf stood up, and your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf." So, I'm not going to pretend that I know how to explain that very well. I think you can Google it, because it's like has to do with how they did like that kind of work, and I can't explain it. I don't have an image to show you guys, so just Google it if you don't know what it means, or if nobody's ever shown you anything like it. Okay? Alright. "Are you really going to reign over us?" his brothers asked him. "Are you really going to rule us?" So they hated him even more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream and told it to his brothers. "Look," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun, moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me." He told his father and brothers, but his father rebuked him. "What kind of dream is this that you had?" He said, Are your mother and brothers and I going to come and bow down to the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Joseph sold into slavery. His brothers had gone to pasture their flocks at Shechem. Israel said to Joseph, "Your brothers, are pasturing the flocks at Shechem. Get ready, I'm sending you to them." "I'm ready," Joseph replied. Then Israel said to him, "Go and see how your brothers and the flocks are doing, and bring word back to me." So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. A man found him there, wandering in the field, and asked him, "What are you looking for?" "I'm looking for my brothers," Joseph said. "Can you tell me where they are pasturing their flocks?" "They moved on from here," the man said. "I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph set out after his brothers and found them at Dothan. They saw him in the distance, and before he had reached them, they plotted to kill him. They said to one another, "Here comes that dreamer. Come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of the pits. We can say that a vicious animal ate him, and then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." They're jerks. When Reuben heard this, he tried to save him from them. He said, "Let's not take his life." Reuben also said to them, "Don't shed blood. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him," intending to rescue him from their hands and return him to his father. When Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he had on. Then they took him and threw him into the pit. The pit was empty and there was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat a meal. They looked up and there was a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying around aromatic gum, balsam, and resin, going down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, What do we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay a hand on him, for he's our brother, our own flesh." And they agreed. Then, when Midianite traders passed by, his brother pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took Joseph to Egypt. Hello. When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone. What am I going to do?" So they took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a young goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. They sent the robe of many colors to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it. Is it your son's robe or not?" They're jerks, huh? Okay. His father recognized it. "It is my son's robe. He said, 'A vicious animal has devoured him. Joseph has been torn to pieces.' Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth around his waist, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. 'No,' he said, 'I will go down to Sheol to my son mourning.' And his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph to Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and the captain of the guard." Hello. So I'm struggling with reading today, but that's all. Sometimes I get ahead of the reading in my head, and then I'm trying to say it, and then the words don't come out right. But this is that basic beginning story, and it's the beginning of that movie. The brothers are not very nice, but we're gonna see how all of that works out. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say, because I'm pretty sure if you just Google this, there's so much already on it somewhere out there. It's already on Google. There's videos, there's all sorts of stuff on it, so you can look that up and find a bunch of stuff on it and the significance of it. What I did is I highlighted the dream parts as I highlighted them as possible prophecy. Is this something that's going to happen? And then, when we see the story, we're going to see that, yeah, those things do come. So, yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys had a good Wednesday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh, go to my YouTube and look up the rest of the playlist. bit.ly/Rose Daily Life Bible Reading. Alright, peace out.